Hey guys, attorney Manny Serra here of the Rossen Law Firm. Today we're going to be speaking with Chris Pierson. Chris Pierson is a marketing and public relations expert here in South Florida. He works with Pierson Grant Public Relations. He's been with them for almost a decade now. Chris and I went to the University of Florida together at the College of Journalism and Communications. I studied public relations. I believe you were journalism and public relations. Chris is going to walk us through what Pierson Grant has been helping some of their clients with, what their message to the community is, how they can, craft a new image in this COVID-19 or pandemic that is really unique to someone who is inside public relations. There's a massive difference, and I don't think a lot of people understand this, but there's a huge difference between marketing, advertising, and public relations. And now is a time more than ever where public relations, at least from my education, it's been a while since I look back on that, but it's really where it shines through, and all that experience and kind of niche that you have in that industry can return its power maybe 10 times. I don't really know what the probability is, but I'm sure it's going to make you stand out real nice amongst the competition. So with that being said, Chris, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me, Manny. Good to be here.
Yeah. So obviously, you've been watching some of the Mondays with Manny and talking with Adam about various things. You're kind of a creative, intuitive guy. So walk us through, what are you seeing today, and how can Pierson Grant really get out there and grip the community by a whole and help them better understand how to navigate through these seas?
First things first, I think that this downtime or this quarantine, whatever you want to call it, has really made small businesses think creatively, think outside the box in terms of their marketing, really kind of show that they want to become their own media company. The distribution channels are there for them to distribute as much content as they can make. You have to be positive now and take into account what everybody's going through, and you don't know who you're really talking to, what they're going through. So stay positive. Customers are going to come back, and that's a lot of my clients firmly believe that. They think that this is just a little blip. We're going to get through this. And if as a brand you stay in touch with your customers, you kind of show that you care, they're going to come back to you when times, quote unquote, become good again. But yeah, this has been a very interesting experience going through this with a lot of my clients that, had to shut their doors, aren't selling anything to anyone right now. So I've really kind of just tried to be positive with them, stay in contact with them, try and give them any guidance or advice in terms of like marketing and thinking creatively, because they are thinking about it, but they can't really implement because they don't know when they're going to open. But yeah, I've never done as much consulting that I have in the last month, that instead of pounding the pavement, creating, digital ad campaigns or social media content. Now it's all about consulting and, trying to be positive.
So as someone who kind of follows the stock market, I see, people jumping on squawk on the street and things of that nature that you don't usually see. For instance, oil tankers. So oil tankers, you've got guys on there saying they don't know what to do with all the business because the mass production with oil and oil dropping. This obviously isn't an economics, lecture, but what I'm getting at here is that there are certain people that they have a steady flow of business, and then something happens, such as this pandemic, and all of a sudden phones are ringing, they need help. What can you tell people watching this? When do they need to really worry about public relations? What's a red flag to look for?
That's a good question. You don't want to be the first one in your industry to announce some ground. You don't want to be when this all started, you did not want to be the first one to announce you were closing. You wanted somebody else to jump in because they're going to take the media hit. Everyone's going to cover the first restaurant that says, I'm closing, until this is over. So you kind of want to be in that second wave. So, most of our clients, we told, let's let the kind of dust settle on the beginning of this. And then once, you kind of have to make the change to your hours, everything shut down, then it turns to, okay, here's what we're going to be doing in the meantime. It's just interesting to me how, some of my clients are having the best grocery stores are having the best times right now ever. This is the best time to ever own a grocery store. But it's, the worst time to be in the event business. Every event is canceled, and we don't know when they're going to come back. So there's a move now, a push to kind of do events online, kind of virtual, boat shows, stuff like that. That's kind of going to hold you over. But no one really knows. And in being in South Florida, we're very tourist driven. We need people to visit down here to, for the economy to be great. We have a lot of events down here that happen. I wish I could say that they're going to be 100% back to normal, but what part of the kind of thing we're trying to solve is how do we get back to normal, and how do we make a new normal that could be beneficial for all businesses. So, the main thing I would say is you don't want to be the first business to announce something groundbreaking about anything in the pandemic. That was the first thing. And then the second thing is always look at it positively. When you're talking to people, when you're talking with people, be positive, because you don't know what the end user is going through. You don't know if their family has, COVID-19. You don't know if they just lost their job. You just want to kind of be there and say, hey, we're going to get through this together. It might be dark now, but, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And that's, basically kind of how I've handled, all my clients right now.
So obviously, the realm of public relations, and it's kind of similar in a sense to law, where there is some confidentiality and some protective information that you hold close to your vest regarding some of your clients. So I'm not going to ask you obviously specifics when it comes to your clients or anything like that, but what are some of the things you can share that are really driving forces to making good in the community? Meaning, when you have a certain company, how do you match it up with the perfect kind of message? Because I'm sure there's going to be people watching this thinking, well, none of this really applies to me. I run a family law firm, or I run a baby warehouse. I don't know how to deal with this. How do you craft that specifically so that you reach the audience appropriately?
Yeah, well, first thing I would say, with now how social media has grown and, the tools you have at your disposal that you can self-learn, there are distribution channels. So maybe if the media is not interested in covering your feel-good story, if you're, and even in a pandemic, the media is very stretched thin on covering pandemic-related things. So if you're going to bring food to first responders or hospital workers, pull out your iPhone, video the whole experience, and share it on your social media. Just because the media might not want to cover it doesn't have the bandwidth to cover it. Your fans or the people that are following you online do care about these things, and it's feel good stuff. Feel good content always sells. So it's been a juggle that because again, if you have news that's not necessarily directly related to COVID cases, but you want to help the community still because it's hurting, you can create your own content and you can distribute it. Now, if you have only 100 fans on Facebook today, that's going to grow over time, and more people are going to be able to see these videos because they're going to stay there forever. So, again, it all goes back to positivity. I think more people are consuming media right now at an all-time high. And the one thing that I've learned going through this is you never have to really finish watching anything bad. You don't have to read bad content anymore. You don't have to watch bad TV shows or watch bad videos on the internet. Stop that now, because there's so much good content out there and so much feel-good content that people are producing a ton every day. You never really have to watch anything or consume anything that's, quote unquote bad ever again. There's just too much good out there.
So when it comes to opinions, and we're not going to get into politics obviously, but when it comes to fake news, when it comes to really politicizing this pandemic, whether you're on the left or whether you're on the right, whatever it is, how are you navigating those delicate waters? Because I'm assuming it's very easy when someone comments on something, when someone writes a negative review, when someone throws allegations or starts mudslinging in times like this. That's where you specialize. I'm assuming that's where you specialize because I see the work you do, but what do you do and say to someone that their business is failing? They've got people writing 1-star reviews because they are, closed because they care about their family, and they say that, oh, they're just siding with the left instead of opening up and rah, 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 that kind of rabble. What do you say about that kind of stuff?
That's you have to understand, right, where your customers are coming from, and you have to show them that you understand, what they're going through, and then what your business is going through. So it's delicately telling the story of, this is where my business is currently at, but I do understand where you're coming from. Now, you can politicize anything anything to do with this. If you want to wear a mask, if you think people should be wearing masks, all of a sudden, you're far out there left. If you want to just go, have businesses open up, you're so far to the right, like you don't care about people's lives. So, a lot of facts, again, you're looking at, this is an industry where clicks and media's for profit. They need you to keep visiting. They're going to give you the headlines that are not the greatest headlines just so you get hooked on it. So I think if you understand that and understand what you're getting into when you're reading some of these articles or watching some of these broadcasts, it'll go a long way into understanding why some of these businesses are doing what they're doing. Again, I could turn this on you and say, what's going to happen with the legal aspect? What if somebody gets infected in your restaurant, or somebody gets infected? That's not the business owner's fault. So is there going to be liability for those people? Again, I'm not going to, if I owned a restaurant and you told me I'm going to be liable if somebody gets COVID in my restaurant, I'm not opening. The lawsuit would take out your life savings. So, I think, again, it goes back to understanding who your customer is. So if you have customers that are, on the fringe politically or has strong political opinions, you understand. I understand, the heat of the moment. We're high emotion right now. People don't know, what's really going to happen. Kind of leadership looks like they're kind of playing it by year two. Like they don't really know what's happening. So, it's you got to calm the panic. And this all goes back to my point of your company, whatever business you're in, whether you're a law firm, whether you're a restaurant, whether you're a boat company, you can be your own media company. You have distribution channels at your disposal, but you have to think about what you're putting out. You have to put out good, positive messaging, but there is another way to do it. You could get controversial but again, you're just playing into the media's hands of, I just want clicks. I just want attention right now. I don't want to build any long-term goodwill, because that's all the good content that's out there. You're building long-term goodwill and not just for the flash click. Hey, I'm going to get 100 clicks on this and then that's it. But I think, again, it just goes back to understanding the understanding between business and customer.
Going back just to touch briefly upon that, you have some really high profile clients, whether it's businesses, celebrities, professional athletes. What have you learned from this? What have you really learned from the beginning when it first started, the middle, which we may still be in the middle, I guess, and then up until now, or early May? How have you changed?
The beginning was kind of, putting out fires. So you're kind of on the fence, like you're kind of watching what the rest of the community or the rest of the landscape that your business is in is doing. I was firm believer that, don't be first. Don't be first to kowtow. What if this is just like the flu? What if, you say I'm closing all my locations and then all of a sudden this guy, looking back again. But that's what I learned at the beginning is kind of, let's not let the chips kind of fall where they may. Wait it out. You have to be everybody lost business during this. I've lost business during this. But the people that, have stayed in business and have kind of kept up with their marketing and kept posting on social media, the people are consuming content at an all-time high right now. They're going to remember that you were with them during this, putting out feel-good content, putting out feel-good videos, giving first responders food. People are going to remember that, and they're going to reward you when times get good. So that's how kind of in the middle of how I handled it. I'll keep churning out content, keep churning out positive content, tell stories that you think your community wants to hear. Now, the content creation aspect of it is a little hard because you can't really leave your house, but there's still ways to tell stories. Now, sitting here today, I'm kind of looking at it as I don't want to jinx anything, but in Florida, we're looking like we're going to open up and kind of start to see some normalcy. Is it too soon? Is it not? I'm not, an expert, but I am kind of fully getting more engaged now in regular marketing programs for my clients on how we come out of this more, stronger than we were before. I do not think the consumers have left. They will be back. And we are trying to keep people and get people through this. So it's all about now telling the story of, when we come out of this, how we come out of this, we're going to be stronger, and telling that story. I'm starting to get into that story of, we're almost there, but when we open those doors, we need customers to come in. If they don't, then, we kind of tumble back into the middle of this again. But I think a lot has to do with open mind. You have to have an open mind. You have to be able to be nimble. And that's the good thing about social media. You can be very nimble. You can stop things on the drop of a hat. So yeah, that's basically how I kind of went through it. I was very patient with some of my clients. They're very patient with, us, which is, thankful. And it takes years and years of building, a relationship to have that happen. But, you got to understand, when you're a service business, marketing is the first thing to go when times get tough. So, you have to deal with that. You have to be positive about it. You have to let people know, hey, when your business does come back, and I'm positive that it will come back, we're going to be here to help you with whatever, marketing initiatives you want to do. And the thing that I've noticed is, maybe, their business, they're thinking right now, these small business owners are really thinking creatively about marketing and kind of the future of this. And a lot of it all points to digital. Your phone is you're the only thing that you touch. Nobody else touches it, so you don't have to worry about any of that, the health risk. But newspapers, magazines, are you going to pick up a magazine in a hotel room that you don't know how many people have touched it before you? Digital, it's coming, and this pandemic just kind of accelerated that process. So it's exciting for me because I'm more on the digital side than on the traditional PR side. So it's exciting. But then again, you have to understand that your customer, there's still a lot of traditional people out there that don't necessarily want to dive completely into digital, or don't have the budget to dive completely in. But for me, it's, you and kind of, it's kind of forcing their hand, really.
Yeah, when push comes to shove, and when people are under severe stress and pressure, pressure makes diamonds. Some more cliches that may be applicable here. One would be, if you're not changing and moving forward, you're getting worse. You're actually falling farther behind. Staying the same is not going to do you any good, especially in this kind of environment. You don't want to get left behind. And so I hear what you're saying with the digital stuff. We're actually shifting digitally quite frequently in things that we had print, or just kind of avenues that we use to reach our clients and communicate. Although we love, grassroots speaking with clients. You're right. Your phone. You can't get any better than the safety of looking on your own device, in your own home, your own screen, when everything else screams COVID. You don't want to touch anything because you're afraid that it's got some, cooties on it. So I totally understand. I'm with you on that, actually. And I want to thank you, Chris, for your time. It's been insightful. I know you could talk for 50 hours if I let you. But can you let everyone know, if they want to find out more about you and Pierson Grant, where do they go?
Yeah, so the website is piersongrant.com. You can also email me, cpearson, Pierson, at piersongrant.com. I love having conversations about, the different ways, because again, it's not one size fits all for any business. A law firm and a restaurant are going to look at things very differently in terms of marketing. And with all the tools that are out there now, everybody can succeed right now. It's just, you got to put in the time and the effort, and then it will pay off. But, at a time like this, people are, kind of want quick results, but it's patience. We're going to get through this. Everybody's going to get through this. And I'm excited for the future. But that's my contact information. Thanks for having me, Manny. Go Gators. We're going to have a season this year. This is our best chance to make the playoff. We have only really one loss on our schedule. So I'm excited.
That loss certainly isn't Florida State, so I'm not worried about it. As someone who loved Kyle Trask when he was a 2-star, I'm very happy and excited for the season. Hope I can make it up there to Gainesville with you. And thanks for joining us, Chris.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
See you, man.